was not occupied at the time. So I believe that, James, what role does Kayla fulfill?
Are we live now?
Up in the upper left-hand corner, we have been live for 24 seconds, and we're still okay.
Good.
I warned a few of you that people are just like, so it started. There's no music, there's no dancing graphics. I want a picnic table where people are happily talking about what they've done right for someone challenged by aging, challenged by caregiving, challenged as they're living into their longevity, and how things were solved, or what's coming up next, or I can't wait to go to this thingamajigger, and have someone wander over and listen in. And that's our audience who are like, did they say, for example, this last weekend in Baltimore, there was something called Expose Dementia. See Nathaniel Brown gathered together with his own creative works, a group of independent films, documentaries, like 8 of them. And he, on my show, was saying our first stop with Exposed Dementia, which means, hey, this is what it's like. This is real people living well and also caring well in the dementia world. And he himself is African American, so he is very specific about how all of the medical moving pieces and everything can impact his own personal community. And a different person on the same screen, which I didn't remember where they lived, said, I'm working in a care community with memory care in Baltimore. And he's just like, what? And you see this, kind of a thing. And I'm like, another thing, I did not contrive this. This was just a moment where someone else hears something, because I didn't know that C. Nathaniel Brown was going to start his Exposed Dementia journey of these 8 films across the U.S. in Baltimore. So they've had just a great time this weekend. And each of you has up and coming opportunities. I don't know if you have events, fundraisers, if you're working on a project and you're just on the edge and you feel like maybe you can hand us a little teaser on what's happening next. But Steve, you were on screen first. We could hear each other. We could see each other. And I'm going to start north. I have no idea whether Dallas or San Antonio is a little bit southwest of. Okay, so I got it from James. So let's start in the north with Steve. Your current position, I would love to know how you came into it and even when you came into it, and everything else that you want to say to introduce yourself to our audience who's watching and your co-guests here.
Well, perfect. Thanks, Christine. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it. And it's nice to meet all you all as well. I'm looking forward to hearing your stories and about your businesses as well. My name is Steve Clark, and I am with a company called Briggs Health Solutions. I am relatively newcomer to the healthcare space. So I've spent the last almost 40 years in consumer product sales and leadership with a bunch of big brands like Crayola and Easton Bell Sports and Little Tykes and great brands and products like that. However, about 9 months ago, I got involved in the healthcare space as I connected with some friends I'd worked with in the past, and they had been working with an inventor out of Pennsylvania, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, named Leonard Briggs. And Leonard had been working on a product that he had patented, he got FDA registered, and it is a medical device that helps older adults protect them from hip fracture and injuries when they fall. And it's just a remarkable product. And we're in the process right now as a company in bringing that product to market. And so it's called the Smart Hip Guardian. And what's really cool about it is that it can tell the difference between everyday older adult activities and when they might have a fall event. And when they're about to have a fall event, it registers a signal with the device. It's a belt that seniors will wear around their waist. It deploys protective airbags, essentially, that come out right before they have contact with the ground. And it's a great way in the space to go from fall prevention to fall protection. So it's a remarkable product, and I'm super excited about working with the business and helping to bring it to market.
Lori Miller, also based in Dallas, Texas. I would say in a digital way, she was jumping up and down going, Christine, you've got to meet this guy. You've got to see this. This is such a game changer. And because she has been for quite a while in the arena of Apple Home Care and Companion, Apple Care and Companion, that she knows what it means to an individual who's feeling reluctant to walk around because they might fall again.
Right.
That certainly is consistent for a lot, is just, I'll just stay seated most of the day. And that means my chances of having a quality of life will be better, which we know is not necessarily so. It takes you, it causes isolation, and it also affects your physical health to sit all day long because you are going, and also to walk hunched over as if I'm going to grab my furniture on my way to somewhere. I'm only going to go into the rooms where I know that I can grab onto something. Yeah. So that's fantastic. And I also think of people who are much less aware of their own environment, their own body, and that would mean a lot to a loved one to know, hey, this technology already exists. We all have this technology, in my mind, in our garage or carport or outside somewhere. And we're already using it, passively using it. So what else did you want to say about that?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because one of the unique things about how this product was created, Leonard Briggs is the inventor of the product that actually is one of the founders with me. His father started the project about 12 years ago, and his father was an inventor himself, and very accomplished inventor, has 35 patents. And a lot of his friends were having challenges, some passing away from hip fractures when they fell. So they said, Dr. Briggs, you're an accomplished inventor and scientist. Go out and engineer. Go out and invent something that will help seniors protect themselves from hip fracture. So he actually went and took old belts, went to a junkyard, pulled airbags out of cars, and started in his garage working to come up with this product. And then he became ill and passed the project on to his son, and his son took it from there and then created the product, which is going to be launched it's about right now. We're planning for October. But I did meet Lori about a month and a half ago or so, and we talked, and we had a great chat. And she's been almost 20 years in home care service, so she knows all too well the challenges that occur when you have a hip fracture, hip injury, and the statistics are just immense. There's never really been a solution for it. About 15 million older adults fall every year, and about half of them fall multiple times. And the results can be devastating. There's about 350,000 hip fractures a year, and about 20 to 25% of those will actually pass away after the first 6 to 9 months. And so to be able to bring a product to market that can extend lives, saves lives is just an awesome opportunity for myself and for our company. We're very excited about it. Right now, we're putting all the pieces in place to get ready to launch in October. We'll probably be selling it direct to consumer. Quite honestly, we want to try to make it as available to as many people as possible, because until now, there's been no solution for falls. Really, there's a lot of prevention. There's a lot of great work being done in preventions. Even AI is coming into the category to try to help with prevention. And you can do things like declutter a room, remove rugs. You can get physically fit better. You can be more aware of your surroundings, wear better shoes, all those things, use walkers, canes, those kind of things, and it all helps. But at the end of the day, falls can be inevitable. And so to have a solution in place that can bring an answer to a lifelong problem is an exciting opportunity.
So the other three co-guests, they are so polite. They have muted themselves. Before I move on to the next one that Steve and everyone will get to know, did any of you have like a question or an idea or anything that you would like to send by Steve? You can unmute. I know that I'm just going to peek for just a second here. Oh, my goodness. I tend to be so focused on my people, I forget that there are people watching from other places. Do any of you recognize this name, Wayne Freeman Chong? No,
I don't, but I appreciate the comment, Wayne. Dr. Wayne, I appreciate the comment very much. So, Christina, I will tell you, it's great to talk to folks that are in the healthcare space, especially ones that deal with this challenge. And we learn so much. We are constantly learning and evolving our product and our approach just because of the awareness that we're in the conversations we're having with healthcare experts.
Yay. And Wayne, I invite you to go ahead and let them know what country you are in. He has been one of my guests. He is, I don't know which date, but he is coming into a virtual conference very soon here with people like Christina Keys. I saw it on my feed earlier. And so if you're still on, Wayne, let them know what country you're in, and you are welcome to put in a link to what you are involved in. I loved having you as one of my guests. I will give you guys a hint. I had to record at 7 p.m. Texas time with the people on the screen that day because everyone else was in Australia, not New Zealand, Tasmania, which is part of Australia. And he'll let me know. It was either Singapore or Malaysia. So, and there was a person from Oregon. So that was a remarkable conversation that we did push out live at that time. But then we also played it during my usual time, Mondays, noon Central, for aspects of aging as part of Aging Better Network. So of the three of you, I'm going to say on your mark, get set, go, whoever unmutes, I would love for you to be next.
I'm happy to go.
Yay!
Yay! I'm sure you always love a volunteer. Well, hi guys. I'm Olivia Duggar with Visiting Angels. I did want to say, Steve, I really admire your product, and a lot of the clients that we work with are fall risks, and that's part of the reason that they are bringing Visiting Angels in to help with their ADLs, the activities of daily living, which I can get into. But really encouraged by your product and the work that you're doing because it's so important, and I've seen that up close in obviously the line of work that we're in and the clients that we are servicing, where a lot of them would really benefit from that kind of product. And so just wanted to say that, hearing you talk, I'm like, wow, I need to send that over to our clients and our caregivers that are working closely with the clients, because that really is so beneficial. So thank you for the work that you do. I'm sure that's a lot to kind of get it up and started. And you said that'll be kind of launching in October, is that right?
Yeah, launching in October. And you know what?
Okay.
In-home care, like Visiting Angels, is a perfect type
Mm.
of partner
Yeah.
for our type of product. So we'll connect after this, and
We'll
we'll
connect.
talk
Yeah,
further.
certainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I loved hearing you talk about that because I haven't ever heard of a device like that. So, yeah, let's
Mm.
certainly connect. But yes, so I'm with Visiting Angels. A little bit of my background. I grew up in the DFW area. So, Steve, I'm not sure exactly where you are, but Dallas is home for me. Living in Waco now, I came to Waco for Baylor. So I went to the university in 2019, graduated in 2022 with a bachelor's of arts in corporate communication with a minor in leadership, and then worked for the university for 2 years. So I just started with Visiting Angels in October. So still relatively new. Similar to you, Steve, I am new to the home care, healthcare world and scene. And so it's been really interesting for me to get to kind of dive headfirst into all things home care. So I'm the marketer for Visiting Angels. So I'm more the boots on the ground, going into clinics, facilities, nursing homes, people's homes themselves, and really just sharing about what we do. And a lot of people don't know that they can actually have somebody in their home with them rather than having to move to a facility or a nursing home. And so really our intention is to prolong their stay in the comfort of their space. So rather than feeling like they have to go somewhere else, hey, we can bring somebody into your home. You can still sleep in your bed and we'll bring the care to you. And so a lot of our clients, they hear about Visiting Angels and then they think, oh, that's not really something that I'm going to need for a while. And really, we want to encourage people, hey, be proactive rather than reactive. So part of my job is going out and sharing with people that maybe don't need our services now, but potentially could benefit in the future, saying, hey, if you start, maybe you have a surgery and you need somebody to come in and help you with that recovery, or you can see that your parent might be rapidly declining. These are things to look for, and these are things that you should know before calling Visiting Angels to come in and kind of step in. And so we help with activities of daily living. That could be anything from, bathing, dressing, grooming, maybe, they are a fall risk and they need help with assisted showers. We can come in and kind of help with those sorts of things. So we kind of cover a wide range of ADLs. We have some clients that don't have any family in town and purely need Visiting Angels to come in as a companion. And so we can sit with them and do a puzzle. We can help them meal prep. We can even do transportation. So taking them to and from the grocery store, or a doctor's visit. Maybe they have a procedure that they need somebody to drive them to. They'll be sedated and need transportation. We can do all those sorts of things. And so we really cover a wide range
Mm.
of specialties. We are non-medical. So that's kind of in this industry, there is some confusion sometimes between home health and home care, personal care. And so home health would be more the medical side. So they can come in, they're certified nurses, they come in and do all of the medical things. For Visiting Angels, we're non-medical. So all of our caregivers, they don't have to be certified nurses or anything like that. They go through a pretty extensive caregiving training where they're qualified, certified in, Hoyer lifts and all of the different contraptions that would, be important in in-home caregiving, but we're non-medical. And so really anything that home health can't do, Visiting Angels can do. What I will say is, because we're not home health, we're not covered by insurance. And so that is sometimes a harder aspect of what we do, because clients say, hey, I need somebody to come in, but I can't necessarily pay out of pocket. And so we really want to work with our clients to make sure if this is something that you need, how can we find a way to make it happen? There's some agencies in Waco, and I mean, we're all across the US. So in lots of different cities, there's agencies that will partner with us to help cover those expenses for the patients that maybe do have a harder time paying out of pocket. We do also accept long-term care policies. So that would kind of be the one caveat to being private pay. And then the last thing that I'll say before I pass the baton is we do have a contract with the VA where they will pay us to cover the services for veterans. And so that is huge. And so many veterans don't know that they can benefit from those services. And so we, with our contract with the VA, you know, there's a process like anything is with the VA where there's a referral that has to be sent out through the VA doctor, and it is an extensive process. But once that gets approved, the veterans can get those services covered. And so I went to a veterans kind of fair where they all got to walk through and just learn about the benefits that they have, and it was shocking how many veterans didn't
Mm.
know that these are benefits they have and things
Yes.
that they can be approved for. And so that's something that I really try to share. And we actually have a client coordinator at our office who her entire job is working with the VA. And so she knows all things VA process, veterans benefits, all those things. And so she's a great resource as well. But just for you guys, as you are thinking about what we do and maybe coming across people in your life or people that you know in the industry that could benefit from these services, if they're veterans or surviving spouses, they can get those services covered. So that's pretty much all I have.
That is just what you've said. People experience those even before they consider themselves in a caregiving role or
Right.
in a care recipient role.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, there's just people begging, saying, come in, let's talk into the VA.
Yeah.
Let's talk, because the person that you have that is just designated for that knows what questions to ask that just does
Right.
not occur to a PhD person, to
Yes.
people who have built their own home. These are
Mm-hmm.
capable people who are just going,
Right.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I
Yes.
just, you know, thank you for
Mm.
knowing that information and
Yeah.
letting us know that there's actually a direction to go or that you've
Yeah,
got this.
absolutely.
So, for example, if a person, this is a real example, but I won't say who, if a person has never contracted with you before on
Mhm.
services, and they make their own decisions, they are in charge of their finances, they know all the stuff, but they are either reluctant to ask a friend or a family member to help out with
Mm-hmm.
something, or they're just being proactive and going,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give them a try on something where I'm going to know what's going on. So, for example, they're going in for a big dental procedure.
Yep.
So they're just thinking, I even drive myself everywhere
Mm-hmm.
that I want to go. But in that situation, some of my friends have said, wow, I could hardly make it home. And
Right.
I'm thinking about the traffic I'm going to have to deal with. Usually
Mm-hmm.
I do all my errands during the calmer part of the day.
Yep.
How about if I hire myself a chauffeur? Olivia, you've told me this stuff. Can I have a chauffeur just for that day who picks me up
Yep.
early? I'm not,
Certainly.
you know, I don't want to get my teeth dirty ahead of time. So we're not going to stop to get any food or anything. They're going to do this. I don't know. Is it going to take an hour, 2 hours? But certainly it will be 2 hours altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Could you do that for me if I sign up?
Certainly. Yep, absolutely. So the process of signing up, and this is a benefit of us not having accepting insurance and being private pay, is it's pretty quick turnaround. So we've had clients call before saying, hey, I need somebody to pick me up at 4 o'clock and they're calling at 2 p.m. So in 2 hours, can somebody get to my house and take me to this thing that I have tonight? And the answer is yes. Like, we won't say no. If you're willing to pay for the services, then we will make a way to be there. We have about 170 caregivers. And so the times of having to say no to a client really don't exist. Of course, there's nuanced situations, but just generally speaking, we don't say no. And so in that instance, absolutely, you're going under on a tooth procedure, or maybe you're not even going under, but you're a little worried about how you might respond and whatnot. We can come, we'll pick you up from your home, drive you to the procedure, stay for the remainder of the procedure, take you home and make sure that you're good to go. And so something about Visiting Angels that does make us stand apart from other home care agencies is we don't have a minimum hour requirement. So a lot of agencies will say, hey, you can use our services if you'll use us for a minimum of 4 hours.
Right.
Visiting Angels, we don't say that. And so, you could use us for 1 hour, to and from the grocery store and never use us again, or you could use us for 24/7 care. You could also use us consistently for a month, take a break for a year, and then pick up services again next year. So there's so much flexibility in terms of how often you're using us and what those hours look like. And so really we work closely with the clients to kind of build out a schedule for them that makes sense financially, and then also makes sense with what they need. If they're not needing us all the time, then my goodness, we are not going to try to encroach on you more than you need us. But also, we're available if you end up needing us more than you maybe think at the beginning. And so we do have some 24/7 clients that started out, using us a couple hours a week, and then as time progressed, they just needed some more attention. And so there's a lot of flexibility. But yes, in that case, we certainly could do something as easy as a dental procedure.
Excellent. Excellent. James, I got to tell you, I am a champion. I'm going to have to say I'm a champion on both sides, because I haven't just heard about people wanting to age in place, stay in the home that they, last week, last month, last year chose as their home. I also have seen people go from their private residence into an independent situation where I like this because I know a bit of cleaning will be done. I know that there will be a meal if I decide to go be part of it, or I can just kind of get it to go. And if something happens, it's not going to be days before someone realizes I didn't put on my squeezy device or something. It's going to be a very short while until somebody realizes something is TIAs. So I can't even say what a TIA, what the letters stand for, but I have watched them happen right in front of me. And that person experienced the whole thing, and without medical intervention, they completely came out of it, and they could have gone on and said, I feel like I lost some time, but it's no big deal. I don't need to mention it. To be in a situation where someone else can go, you completely changed, you checked out for a while, and now you're fine. This is good to know about. You have a situation, as far as I know, it is pure within, it's on the property. Bella Groves is all on the property. I don't know that you do anything else like Olivia was describing, but I would love for everyone to get to know you from Bulverde, the general megatropolis of San Antonio. And you've got at least 2 different things that you wanted people to know about in the links. So go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Christine, and hi to everybody else as well. And Steve, in your introduction, you started saying y'all, and then you went to you, but on this screen we can say y'all. which is perfectly fine. It's nice to have an all Texas crew as well. My name is James Lee. Today, I'm the CEO and co-founder of a dementia education and care community called Bella Groves. We are in Bulverde, which is right outside of San Antonio. And then I also founded a industry gathering called the Think Tank. I'm not new to senior living. I've actually been doing this for 17 years, believe it or not. And I started as a caregiver in a assisted living home in Austin. And I've spent, the bulk of those almost 2 decades learning about aging, learning about all the different services available to people who are getting older. And just a little bit of real talk here. I think our industry, our profession at large, is used to having very finite or very concrete, like you're either home or you're in a facility. You're in independent living or you're assisted living. And there's not a lot of options for families who don't want to be stuck with just one choice. I worked in a lot of larger senior living organizations, learned a lot from them. But for me, what kind of rose to the surface of being pretty important was dementia care. And again, to be frank, I think that our profession of senior living does dementia care wrong for the most part. It's different than assisted living. It's different from independent living. And I think that when people don't understand what dementia actually is, you end up, piecemealing a lot of care plans that don't help. And this is why you see all the stereotypical images and ideas of what a memory care facility looks like, smells like, sounds like. So Bella Groves is a small business. It's a small family-owned business. And there's a lot of freedom in that. We're trying a lot of things that I've felt for years in my heart. This is how we should be doing it. An example of that is staffing ratio. If you guys had to think about a typical staffing ratio in a dementia care facility, what would you think that is? I mean, just gut feeling, if you've been in a memory care, how many caregivers are assigned to residents? What ratio would you guess? You guys are going to have to unmute for this live, unexpected question. But gut feeling.
1 to 5.
1 to 5. Inez?
1 to 8.
1 to 8. Olivia, any thoughts?
I'd maybe say 1 to 4.
Yeah. So
And I was going to say 1 to 12. If the med tech is filling meds and the organizer's over here and the front desk person's over there, you can have 12 people, one person, and 12 people and one person, and someone's like, got to get to the bathroom. It's like, you got to wait.
I'd be interested, if there are people watching this live or even afterwards, you can put it in the comments. But anyway, here in the San Antonio area, we've seen it's close to about 1 to 12. We hear from caregivers
Christine, look at you go, girl.
We've heard from people, like caregivers who are coming to work with us. Yeah, I'm just coming from a place where I was like 1 for the entire hallway. And I was like, how many people were in your hallway? They're like 20 to 25. And so the reason that our profession gets dementia care wrong a lot of the times is it ends up being supervision. And that's not a life. That's not a life for people. Yeah. So through dementia care, we have a 1 to 4 staffing ratio. Every single care person who comes through our community, not just care people, employees, every employee of Bella Groves goes through a 13-week training and onboarding process just on our dementia methodology. The average in the state of Texas, all that's required, actually, this may surprise you, 4 hours. 4 hours of dementia-specific training means that you could be washing cars yesterday and taking care of people with advanced Alzheimer's disease tomorrow. Silence fills the room, right? That's the feeling we should be having. So, what we're trying to do is show people that when you treat dementia care with education and with the appropriate amount of staffing and resources, and you really understand what's going on, that people are still there and there's still people. You can access a lot more than just safety and care. We tend to talk about that a lot in aging services, but you should also be talking about joy. You should also be talking about happiness, romance, new relationships and friendships. All of those things are possible. Just because you have dementia doesn't mean that you're a patient, for the rest of your life. So we're trying to prove that. We're trying to show that to people. And Small businesses are a way of trying to do that.
Wow. Well, I'm pleased to say that the last place that I worked for, which I loved it, if someone stopped living in a place that they just loved living in, and either they or someone who cared about them wanted to put them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That was the place I wanted to work for, because I would go and visit the people who no longer required my services and go visit them there and hear so much good. So I did apply to work there, and they said, we want to keep you doing what you've been doing the last few years, because we actually have an in-home service that we send people, and that, knocking on the front door and coming in. And I got a full week, 40 hours of training, and I was backed up by a nurse who was always available night and day. They kept some office hours, but she was a fully trained nurse, so that I could send a message emergency wise if I was doing an overnighter, which I often did. And I would get a response either from her or the med tech, who was now our supervisor. She had been a med tech and became the supervisor. So that sort of thing. So I did not do medical things, but I would have somebody with medical knowledge going, check on this. If you're seeing that, 911. If you're finding this and nothing is changing, we can deal with it in the morning, that kind of a thing. So I was grateful for those 30 hours, but I would say that I never was in I was in one advanced Alzheimer's situation where there was no longer an awareness. It could have been any house anywhere. And the family had decided, we just want 24/7, and we want it to stay here because we know there's bedrooms for us when we come to visit. We want to be able to actually live with our loved one when we come to visit from different states, etc. So I'm grateful for that. But wow, 13 weeks. James, you felt in your heart. I think you used your brain too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's a lot we need to change. And what you talked about, having like that medical, person on the team to look towards, based on the work that we're doing, and in your gut feeling, you can probably gather this as well. If you think about how much time in somebody's day is spent with care assistants, ADLs that Olivia referenced before, it's not 24 hours, right? If you're sleeping well, let's say you have 8 hours of sleep. Let's say you have a total of 2 hours of assistance kind of patched throughout the day, dressing, grooming, shower assistance, all of that. So that's 10. So what about the other 14 hours of your day? Falls happen not because someone didn't get a shower. It happens because you're bored and nobody's looking and nobody's engaging you throughout the day. People aren't leaving their care communities to go eat ice cream and go to the equestrian therapy center, but our residents get to do that because we're educating the greater community about what dementia actually is. I think we have to change the perceptions that people have about dementia. It's not a tragic narrative. There are some sad parts of it, of course, but if we don't change our opinion about dementia, then the people who live in our facilities or get care at home or use these product, and we haven't heard from Inez yet. She's the most patient of the four of us, but I'm sure I gathered that it's about solving the loneliness epidemic for older adults. Whatever we're doing, especially for helping people living with dementia, we have to understand what's actually going on. Otherwise, these are just features, that we're confusing people with.
Before you tell us a little bit more about the industry gatherings that I love it because Inez already knows that I'm a person who dreams it and says, I've got the rest of my life to make this vision happen. I just don't want to take that long to make that vision real. And you're making your visions real. James, if I put you on the spot, say I'll answer that later before the show ends. Is there some sort of bias or bad practice that you would like to stamp out in your lifetime having to do with dementia?
I probably have a top 10 list there, but I'll just go with the first two that come to mind. I'd love for us to stop calling it memory care. Memory, it tells people that memory is the only thing that's affected by dementia. You could actually have dementia and not have memory loss. I bet most people didn't know that. Memory loss is something that is, a big part of dementia for a lot of people. But when we call it memory care, it actually falsely tells people you only need help when mom can't remember you anymore. Right? Well, what about because part of the dementia that mom has, she's having trouble processing her emotions? Right? That could be a major symptom before the memory gets bad enough that you seek help. But if you understand that, okay, dementia can affect mood, it can affect language, it can affect time and, my sleep patterns. If you understand that, you get better help earlier on. So I think our industry needs to stop calling it memory care. And dementia care, dementia assistance, anything with the word dementia, we shouldn't be afraid of that. So just so I can pass my time, I'll go with that one. That's my biggest pet peeve soapbox at the moment.
You've got something coming up in December that is local. It's in Texas.
It's in Austin. So the think tank, I'll do a quick 30 seconds on this. Basically, you can gather from how I talk about what I do here that some people who get it, they're on board. I'm on the soapbox with you. And for others, it probably ruffles some feathers. Like what I would say the think tank is it's people, it's change agents who are getting together, who are saying, we've been talking about the same stuff, the same innovations, the same changes in our industry forever. I've been doing it 17 years. I've heard the same ideas for innovation for 17 years. So the think tank is just a group of people getting together. We're working across, industry lines. It's providers and vendors and technologists and small businesses, big ones. It's anybody who's kind of tired with the status quo of how things are in our profession. And we work together. We do small group projects. Every small group puts forth a deliverable based on that topic. So you might be talking about value-based care, which is a hot topic. Well, this group gets together, gets down to the nitty-gritty, and then puts something forth that they can share with the greater industry at large. So that's the main thesis of it, is like, let's start working together. And even if it's small, put some action forward instead of diagnosing the industry forever and ever. Amen.
So they may come up with an initiative, a white paper,
it's something, right?
Event, a new podcast. They might, and I hear that if you go to this, you don't get to just walk away and go, gosh, I feel better. And it was fun talking with everyone. And I took so many pictures. It's like, okay, we've created this now. We're going to be working together. And I kind of want to go to Think Tank again next year to let people know this is what happened. We actually, came together with somebody else and we made a difference, maybe industry-wide, maybe community-wide, mindset, etc.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you're right, Inez, you've been the most patient. Have you had any knocks at your door? I'm giving you a chance. I call it dismute, and then the gymnast was able to dismount and stick their dismount. And so it's like when you get your mute off, it's like I stuck my dismount here. I'm ready. Inez, we're so ready for you. You and Olivia are both based here in Waco. And you have possibly had the biggest track record, from what I hear, with Steve, less than a year. Olivia, how long have you been in?
Just since October, so 5 months maybe, around there.
Yeah. And then James with over 17 years now. So that's all I'm going to say because Inez is ready.
Okay, so almost 36 years ago, I started Friends for Life. And in the beginning, we just visited people and addressed what James just said, isolation and loneliness, and realized that that happens not just to people who are in their own homes and unable to get out, but loneliness is an issue in long-term care also. And it can be an issue, a frightening issue in hospitals if the patient doesn't have any family or any friends to be their support system. So I started Friends for Life. We started out with quality of life programs, and that pretty quickly grew into independent living programs where we provided transportation and food delivery and minor household repairs, did yard work, grocery shopping. We did for people the things that they couldn't do anymore that might result in them being institutionalized. We found one lady living in the dark. She moved from room to room as the light bulbs burned out in her house. And when the last one burned out, she was living in the dark. So we started a light bulb changing program. So basically, every program that we started came from a call for help. And if we couldn't find that help somewhere from somebody that we could connect them to, then we figured out some way that we could do that ourselves. In the first year of Friends for Life, I got a call from a county judge asking if we would be legal guardian for a man, an elderly man who actually had dementia and couldn't make decisions for himself, didn't have any family. And we are now appointed by judges in 76 counties in Texas to serve as guardian when people lack decisional capacity and they don't have family or to that's qualified or willing to serve. We started doing money management in 1995 when we were called about an elderly woman who was about to be evicted because she hadn't paid her rent in a year. And that program has quadrupled in size since COVID, since the beginning of COVID, because it's my fault. I was trying to keep that program small. In money management, if somebody needs help with that, they typically need a lot more help. So they might not be able to drive anymore or go to the grocery store, get to the doctor. And I wanted us to be in a position to provide all those support services. But during COVID, the largest money management program in Texas closed. And in order to keep those people from becoming homeless because they wouldn't know how to pay their bills, we started growing that program all over Texas. In 2000, we took over the adult daycare center here in Waco because it was closing. And that was an interesting challenge for us, a whole new world. But I knew that without adult daycare, people ended up in nursing homes too soon, or family members had to quit work to stay home with them, or worst of all, people would end up at home alone when they're not able to take care of themselves. So then a few years ago, we were asked if we would do life skills training, and we now have trainers who go into nursing homes and teach people with intellectual and developmental disabilities how to be more independent. And surprisingly, the biggest percentage of those clients are seniors. And that's been a kind of surprise to us that it's been as successful as it was, because we got into it not having any idea how to do it and had to create and develop this program, but the happy end result is that some of the people are moving out of nursing homes now and into the community because they're learning how to be independent. So our focus this year is isolation and loneliness. That's one of our big things we're trying to be very intentional about. We're expanding our Phone Friends program into unserved communities across the state. And that not only addresses loneliness, and we're matching volunteers who have like interests with our homebound people, but it also gives them an opportunity to connect regularly with somebody who can make sure that they are able to access the resources that they need to continue to live in their own homes, to be safe. One of the things we've learned in the last 35 plus years is that if you can catch a problem when it's little, you've got a lot more options for solving that problem. And sometimes if the problem goes unsolved too long, there are no solutions. So finding out about the problems as early as we possibly can is very helpful. And that's one of the things we can accomplish if we can be in contact with these folks every week at least. And if they know and trust us and have our phone number to call if they need help. So that's who we are and what we do. We have a reading program that's kind of attached to our life skills training program, and that's been fun because we've discovered even some of our seniors can't read, and how limiting it is if you can't do that one thing. So we've opened our second learning lab and are working right now to take that into other communities as well. So before I stop talking, I want to say, our mission is to help seniors and people with disabilities live their best lives as independently as possible. So even though it seems like we're doing lots of different things, they all come back to helping people live better lives and be as independent as they can be and be safe.
Wow. It's it doesn't do justice to try to describe the last almost 36 years, to say, oh, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle and you've just been putting the pieces in place, because that would presuppose that this is a model and you're just building it so that it all covers everything. You told us that each time there was a call, may I say, a cry for help from someone very specifically. I mean, there was a specific situation. And Inez, you personally have asked people, could you come on board and help us with this? Could you be there for this situation? I know that it might have been you that said to, I think, Bush's Chicken, can you get some more mashed potatoes going for all the, we've run out, or we are running out. My simple question is, Friends for Life. And when you're looking it up, you need to look at Friends for Life Texas, because you're going to end up seeing all sorts of Friends for Life, and it often has to do with doggies and such. But Friends for Life Texas is one way to make sure that you get to the right Google. How much do you? How much? Yeah.
But our website is friendsforlife.org. So that's,
yes.
You can find us that way.
Yes. And when you get there, you can find out how you can volunteer. I saw 3 stars, and it looked like 3 stars meant really could use this right now. And I thought, I'm very comfortable. In fact, I specifically bought this 10-year-old car because there was plenty of room in the back for a walker and even a wheelchair. I haven't used that yet, but if I haven't do I have the muscle to get it up and in, but there's plenty of room. So I saw 3 stars by volunteering to do transportation. What they need, they specify the time, the location, where to be picked up, and volunteers get to stay so that person knows who's going to be there ready for, maybe it's nice to have somebody walk you out after whatever it is you're doing, maybe walk alongside you as you're running errands, etc. So I'm very grateful. I did hear this morning that there's more that I can look at on my email and pick out the dates that I'm not already committed to something else. But this is my simple question. How much does Friends for Life charge?
Nothing. For most of what we do, there's no charge. And for some of what we do, there's a charge, but not to our clients. So we have a contract with the state for guardianship. We're the largest guardianship contractor in Texas. We have contracts with county governments to provide guardianship services. Most of the people that attend our adult daycare center we're reimbursed through Medicaid for them to come. We do have private pay options, but most of the people, Medicaid reimburses us for them to come.
Right.
So we have, most of the people that we're working with can't afford to pay for services. So it's a good thing that we can find some other pay source to help us cover those costs. But, there's a trade-off, and I want to say this for Olivia. She's got the ability to be able to respond to any kind of a request, and we're limited by how many volunteers we have. Right now, we have a shortage of transportation volunteers. That's why you're seeing all the stars. And I hate that, because when that happens, you prioritize medical. So we have to get people to their doctor's appointments. But they also like to go to the beauty shop and get their hair done. And they like to have somebody take them shopping. And some of them just want to go for a ride and see the lake. And those are things that we can't do if we don't have enough volunteers. So I'm glad that we have visiting angels to do those kinds of things if we can't. But yeah, we definitely need volunteers. That multiplies what we're able to do.
There's a huge cooperation between visiting angels and Friends for Life, because Friends for Life doesn't go in and assist with what I call restoring humanity. What you need to have done to feel, I feel human again. Friends for Life doesn't cover that. Olivia knows that there is money or coverage to take care of these needs of this veteran, and the people know who, they know their regulars that are going to be coming in. And yes, that was probably the most telling thing right there, was you are limited by the amount that volunteers are willing. I will simply say I was inside of the building at Friends for Life when a person who works there regularly said, "Are you able to do this too today?" And the person explained, "I have a commitment. I won't be able to do this today." And I was already on my way to my commitment, so I couldn't say yes either. And that worker had to think, do I drop what I'm doing, which means it's not getting done, and go and take care of that? Or do I call and say, I'm sorry, we can't fulfill that? And, sometimes people have this much money and this much needs. And it's like, oh, but I can call up Visiting Angels because I know that I need to do this today. And they will help with that. So everything together is covering so much. I can see that our time is done. I feel like the four of you could just talk together.
And I hope we can after this. All of it. Yeah.
We can stay on the screen for a few minutes. And we did get a hello from Russ. He does a show together with my husband, D. Scott Smith, motivational listener. And Russ is just popping in to say hello. And he's thanking me. I am thanking each of you, Steve, Inez, James, Olivia. Thank you so much for telling us solutions and perspectives that you have, solutions you provide, and enrichments, James, that you see is part of any part of life. Continuous life, you don't just stop wanting to be part of this. Charlie Becker just popped in. Hey, Charlie, thank you so much. Well done by all. Thank you, he says. I'm always sad when the hour is over because I'm like, we just got going. Thank you so much. You all have very important things to continue doing, and we got to learn a little bit about that.
Well, thank you for having us, Christine.
Yeah, thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.